Welcome back, everybody, to the OK Grognard Show. Today is Wednesday, July 31st, 2024, 10 a.m. Central, in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And we are doing a quick EGG Con 1 wrap up. We just had that here in Lake Geneva over the weekend, thanks to Heidi and Eric Gygax Garland. The wonderful couple are now here living full time and back to her roots. And she decided, a little birthday party for her dad would be in order. Just a mini con, a little, I don't know, what was it? I think they sold 150, maybe something like that. Regular tickets, and then they had some quote-unquote VIG tickets that they sold, maybe 30 of those, something like that. It was around 200 with staff and special guests and everybody there, and it was a good time. They held it at American Legion Hall and at the Comfort Suites. So they had both things going on, but they did some other things at the bottle shop. They had a couple of things going on, and then at the library and at the museum and at 330 Center Street. So all those great places that you would want to visit when you're in town on the pilgrimage are part of EGG Con. They are definitely tied to it now, so you're stuck. You got to keep doing it because EGG Con 2 is already being planned. They, I don't know if they've officially announced where it's going to be yet, so maybe I shouldn't say, but they have a slightly larger venue, well, slightly twice as big. I think they're looking at getting up to as many as 300 attendees for EGG Con. I think that's going to be it, though. It's a summertime in Lake Geneva problem. I don't think they're ever going to see a huge growth spurt beyond what they're at for this. But that'll be plenty. It's nice to have a mini con for just a few days. It's great, of course, to have it in Lake Geneva and to be able to enjoy Gary's birthday at that time and celebrate it. Celebrate just as we do, of course, with GaryCon, where we're celebrating the life and games of Gary Gygax. And we're doing the same with EGG Con. And quite frankly, the Dragon Days Festival that happens at the end of September now is a weekend of crafts and Renaissance fair kind of thing, but it's a celebration of fantasy and science fiction, including all those great books in Appendix N, which are on display at the Lake Geneva Public Library near the Throne of Reading, and includes Dungeons and Dragons too. So Dragon Days Fest, of course, is here in Lake Geneva, in part because of Gary's influence on that world. He wrote some, obviously, and cherished all of it, and read it, and it all influenced his gaming and his contributions to Dungeons and Dragons. So you know that he is a part of Dragon Days Festival as well. Paul Stormberg leading the charge to make that happen. Luke, of course, leading the charge for going into GaryCon 17 next March. So, all kudos to Luke for getting things happening after the passing of his father to make sure that his legacy would not go away with him, and rather we could continue to celebrate and enjoy the games that he helped us find and treated us to, for goodness sake. Hey, what happened with EGG Con for me? Mostly I played. My own father's birthday was over the weekend as well, so I needed to make sure I was free to be able to go and join some other things outside of town, outside of the mini convention. So I merely signed up to play stuff, figuring if I had to drop something, well, another player could probably be found if I was running something and I had to drop. Well, that messes up 6 schedules, and I didn't want to put anybody else in that position. So I did what I had to do, and I had a great time just playing. Look, I started off with a Wamathon. I started off playing Icebergs. I got to play with Ashley and Tom and Dave, and we had a very good time. I think in the end, I squeaked in some horrible rolling visited upon my 3 opponents. I can only say that I did my best to try to keep up the whole game and was constantly one step or 2 step or even maybe more steps behind most of the game, and limped over the finish line as they faltered just before it. So that was a big surprise to actually get that one. I think Ashley won the other game that they played. I had to move along and go get a couple things done. And then there was the reception that was over at the Comfort Suites, and it was a nice turnout. There was a lovely cake. There were other folks just getting there because this was Friday, first day, and some folks, weren't able to be there as early as the very, very beginning. A few games were being run. The Wamathon was going on. There were some D&D games, and I think some Castle and Crusades, Trollords being a big sponsor of EGG Con, of course. I wound up playing a game of First Edition with Seth Warfield and 8, 9 other players. There's first-time chatter. Hey there. Thank you, Western Arc, for popping in. Appreciated. Just talking about EGG Con, the first one here in Lake Geneva. Seth Warfield ran a First Edition game, and boy, what a full table, huh? I think there were 10 of us as players, and the room was a little hot. We cooled it off pretty fast. They had some AC issues, which, I don't have to tell you, in the summertime can be a little problematic, but they got it worked out, at least to make it more comfortable as the game progressed. And I don't know, I found it okay, and I'm a big man, and heat is not my best friend. So needless to say, if it was too hot, I might have been passing out or at least dozing off. That seems to be my modus operandi, right? The next day, what did we do? Oh, well, I went over to the library at 10 a.m. to view the movie The Dreams in Gary's Basement, which Pat Kilbane, the documentarian and actor, was hosting. And it was quite a love letter to Gary. A lot of interview pieces and very enjoyable. You hear things over the years, and some things, it's nice to get verified from various people's perspectives and to understand what was going on at the time, and to hear, how people felt about Gary. This was a very positive documentary approach to this. Hey, Kyle Colway, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for stopping into the chat there. And then let's see, after the movie, popped back over to the Comfort Suites, had a Castles and Crusades game with Michael T. Baird, and he was running us through. Boy, does he have a lot of great terrain. A whole manor. He prints a lot of stuff. He paints it up. It's beautiful. Whole outdoor forestry scenes. We had a temple, and then we were down in an underground. Well, no, actually, that was the second scenario I was in with him. So it was a lot of outdoor stuff, really, for the first one. Although we had a big fight in in an inn toward the end of the first section. That was a great time. I think it was a 5-player table. Same with the other one on Sunday. But the evening, Saturday, finally got to play a game at Chris Clark's table. He ran a first edition game, and Ernie even popped by a little later. We were over at the American Legion Hall. It was my one game there, just as the scheduling worked out. There were vendors over there. Chris Arneson, the great artist. Brenda Clark was running the Inner City Games booth. There were several others that would be right up in the OK Grognard Show Facebook group if you want to check it out and get all the details. I want to talk about Chris's game, though, which was the Wolf Moon Castle game that he was running, which Gary contributed to way back in the day, and it sat on an old hard drive, unused. It was considered in those days too unwieldy. It was like, I think Chris told me he had like 192 pages of adventure. He wanted to know if Gary wanted to get in on helping design parts of it, and he handed it over to Gary, and when Gary handed it back, it was 300 pages. It was just too much. They had other projects they were doing anyway, so they worked on those more wieldy projects. And this sat for the longest time. And he finally decided, I'm gonna bust this out and do something with it. So he kickstarted it and all that, but he also was running it at this EGG Con 1, and it was a lot of fun going in there. I won't say too much about it. Wolf Moon, though, obviously. There will be wolf and wolf creatures involved. So if you're ready for that and you like that sort of thing, which I do, then by all means, check that out. Look it up. Wolf Moon Castle. Wolf Moon is the name. And, of course, Inner City Games is Chris Clark's company, so you can look it up that way, too. The last scenario was another Michael T. Baird Castle and Crusades game. The first was the Serenade of Solstice, which ironically also included some were creatures. And of ravens shalt thou abide. Shalt thou abide was his second scenario. And that was a good time, too. It's another 5-player table. Again, the fantastic terrain. Pictures are up in the OK Grognard Show Facebook forum group, on Facebook. Please pop over there. Unauthorized user. I do love it. Morning to you, too. Thank you very much. Hey, and thanks for grabbing one of the spots on the Patreon. It's much appreciated. It's nice to know who's out there and listening and enjoying the show. You have my thanks. And that was a fantastic time. And like I said, next year probably be twice as big. Listen, we're pushing the limits on the time here, so I've gone over the schedule. I think that's what we wanted to do today, so we'll flip that back over and we'll say, hey, thanks to everybody who popped in the chat. It's very kind of you. This has been a recap of EGG Con 1. That's E. Gary Gygax Con 1. It took place over the weekend, the 27th being Gary's traditional birthday. He passed, of course, in 2008, but the legend lives on, and the legacy of gaming does as well. We've been doing this on the OK Grognard Show, The show streams live on Twitch each Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, and then it's archived on YouTube. Be sure to thumbs up or give us an A-OK, or a fine comment thanking us, or any of that sort of stuff. Follow, subscribe, do all of that good stuff, and it'd be appreciated. Thanks to our Patreon supporters, Tom Tullis of Fat Dragon Games, Carlos Lysing of Castle Entertainment, Heath Farndon of the NAPD and D20, Dave O'Brien, and Shane Bradley, DM Extraordinaire. I should start collecting a list of the other free subscribers on Patreon, probably unauthorized user, huh? And my buddy Vince is also one of those, the Vince himself. So maybe we should get those names on there. He, I think, went into have his wife induced labor yesterday, so I haven't heard back yet, but I'm going to have to check. I bet they had the baby. Well, listen, we're closing down here. So this has been the Oak Creek Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Thank you, and bye-bye.